what's a medium to explore that will allow the audience to get from it an emotional experience that you can't get from watching a movie? And we're like, what is that? Well, how is that? For us, it was exciting to try to come at this from a perspective that had never been done before. Hi, my name is Xavier Garcia, writer, producer, director of Good, the Examination of an Accused Witch.
My name is Jonathan Garcia. I'm co-founder of Mont Harvest, writer, producer, and DP on the project.
I'm Ian Messina. I'm the founder of Dimension 5, and we were on this project as the visual effects supervisor.
You know, the story that we've created, what we want it to be is a mini-series. We have an actual laid out mini-series for the story of a protagonist, a fictional character that we've immersed inside of this true historical time and place.
It was them basically taking off their crowns, the authority that's placed upon them in Christ, like taking that off and giving it to the government to handle was the mistake that Christian men did, not the mistake of Christianity.
Yeah.
We were talking about, just stories that resonate with us, stories that are contemporary, stories that are kind of something like we're seeing today, especially coming out of COVID. There was a lot of just discord, disunion, a lot of pointing fingers. That kind of harkened back to the Salem witch trials, and even when Arthur Miller wrote the play, what he was writing about, and so Jonathan and I were like, let's dig back into that story, because I feel like there's still much that has yet to be told, and I think there's a lot to even learn from that, because it was such a sad time in our history.
How do we tell this story, but tell it again differently, that has a bigger, more impactful, because there's so many things that happen that actually caused that moment. Everyone wants to point it to that one thing.
Yeah, there was not one event that actually caused for the 1692 Salem witch trials. There was a powder keg of events.
Nothing but a craven.
Enough! Joseph, we will take care of this. I will take care of this. William, what have you to say?
That is my wife. And if she's not a witch now, she will be one very soon.
Nailed it.
Let's try that one more time. Yes, this is a phenomenal story and a great show, but we also want the audience to be educated.
So when Jonathan and I started discussing how to give the audience an immersive, almost even educational perspective of this, I guess, little explored story, or at least from a holistic perspective where we're looking into the lives of all of the people involved, not just in the town, but surrounding towns, and even within the wilderness, as far as the First Nations. Arthur Miller, The Crucible, Daniel Day-Lewis, Winona Ryder, it doesn't get any better than that, right? But we were like, yes, it can, because what we can do is tell a true story.
Right.
And look at it, really granular from the perspective of the relationships inside this town. And from that perspective, we built this narrative.
The examinations had begun in the home, and Sarah Good was being examined in the home, and then she was left in the home because the examinations became, all over. They checked her inside and out, and so they would have.
It sounds crazy to be like, yeah, we're chasing witches, but it's like, we got to think about it. Like, people were in that mindset in that moment in time. And so what's great about this story is it's really bringing us back to that era where people, for lack of better terms, they were trying to find a solution for problems that they didn't know were coming from. So they came up with their own solution without, thinking first about what this could affect.
Because of the way she treats me. That woman is an enemy to all good.
One of the things Xavier and I wanted to entertain is how can, people get inside of that world? How can they experience that world, not just in a cinematic, sit down at a screen and just watch it, but how could they dive into that world? And that's when we started, just doing our research. What's the technology? Where's it going? And that's when we contacted you, Ian, what are your expertise? How do you see ourselves diving into this world and having this immersive experience?
And that comes out of realizing the moment in time we're at with the technology that's here and available to us. There's a lot of things that we all want to experience. Movies, when we were younger, transported us to these real world locations, and so I think the next step of that is to actually take a step into these real world locations but not just the locations, but the emotions. You know,
Yeah.
when we're looking at the scene play out, there's not just one or two things going on, right? There's like, you know, 10 or even it feels like 20 things where there's so many emotions happening between everybody, and everybody almost feels misunderstood a little bit. And so it's cool to go back and use the technology to really, you know, pick those certain moments from the actual accused witches to the people sentencing them, to the families that are being destroyed of it. And so it's like really just giving the viewer more information about what it is going on there. And, you know, as a story and with the technology, it gives us some extra thing to really pull people into that moment.
If you're in it and you're giving them an emotional information, you're giving them emotional history, they are now gaining a perspective that you can't from a textbook or even from a film. And now they're actively participating in the emotional engagement that you're as an artist presenting.
Yeah.
And so you're like, here it is. I want you as an artist to feel this way. And so you're putting them in the feelings, if you will.
You know, it's like let's try these things that may
They'll
or may
be
not
so
work.
emotionally attached to the story.
Yeah.
When they're seeing this man and this woman being brought to the pyre to burn.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you're there.
Yeah.
That's
We're in mid-October 2023, and maybe about 4 or 5 months ago or half a year ago, nerfs became a really big thing. Now, you can go in with a camera, you can scan a space. You have now a 3D recreation, photoreal with 3D assets of a space. And Jonathan and I were talking about that, how we're watching technology unfold before our very eyes and thinking about volumetric cinema and how to merge the two. And at which point we started doing our homework. You know, we talked to Microsoft, reached out to NVIDIA, and in that we decided, okay, what will happen if we were to combine the two? You take nerfs at the time and now Gaussian splats and whatever will come in the future, and you take these 3D worlds that are constantly evolving, getting better and better and better, and you put volumetric captures of characters and actors inside that space and have them play out in real time. And when we started asking these questions, the answers we were getting back is, you know, this has never been done.
But what's weird is like when we were there on set, this is exactly how it felt like.
Right?
That's what I
When we talk about normal productions or visual effects, it's usually in the post. What was great about this project was the actual kind of middle ground, that we were able to actually work with the actors on set, and the scale of it being like 30 or 40 actors in this location was very fun. It was really just amazing to see the scale, and right when we started capturing it, all the actors were on board. Basically, we're turning everybody in here into a 3D character. I'm gonna get pretty close to you guys, and just don't focus on me, just focus up here. I'm gonna try and do this as quickly as possible.
Ready? And action, and at that point you'll jump into the moment and be reaching and lunging, pulling, trying to get out. No one's actually leaving. You know, I had given some instructions like as if you're about to leave. Yeah, you're gonna freeze into that position when we do the nerf, but when we act it out, it's gonna be chaos in that position and in that moment. Yeah.
Like right now, Xavier's going around pretty much giving everybody direction based off of the photo that was painted.
Constable John Hawthorne is already in place, so I got Abigail Williams, Elizabeth Hubbard, Mary Warren, Betty Paris, Ann Putnam Jr.
For recreating this moment in time so that then we can go in and capture it as a nerf. We'll basically be bringing a moment in time from 1600s back to present day,
All right,
and you
here's
can
what's
actually
gonna
go
happen.
and check it
We'll
out. So.
Scan it, and we're actually going to do the actual shot. Right into it, action. Okay, this actually looks really great. This looks really great. All right, I'm going to have to get an Apple box back.
You'll see this image where we're actually walking through the space and everybody's frozen, nobody's moving. And this is specifically so that we can build a 3D file that then we can go and explore. And not only can we render that out for the final visual effects for the film, but we actually can go back and experience that in virtual reality and in some augmented reality applications.
And 3, 2, 1, go!
We didn't want it just to be a gimmick either.
No,
right, you know?
yeah.
It has to be seamlessly sewn into the story. There has to be a purpose for the tools that are being used. bridge those two, have them running not all one thing, not all another, but somehow maintain that purist theatrical approach to filmmaking. But give the audience a little bit of that. They have some control as well, and have it be kind of a collaborative process with the audience. We are giving the viewer, the end user, more of a hands-on engagement with the product.
She's unarmed! Rein in your passions!
When generally you're working with kind of a production schedule, you've got one camera and the camera's only looking in one direction. Now, when we're working with this technology in particular, we're actually scanning this moment in time in and going to be able to teleport or move wherever we want.
You have just been set. There are personal conversations happening everywhere. You are all waiting for Sarah to be brought in. So it's kind of a,
We knew that in order for us to pioneer something, we needed to work with top-notch talent that trust us, whom we've worked with a lot, and whom we could trust, because what we were trying to do hadn't been done, and we're asking people, okay, here we go, everyone. In the count of 3, the entire room, 45 actors and background actors, you have to freeze because we're going to do a scan. It was a lot of, wait, what?
And Nathan, you're going to try to find her under the mighty authority of the crown and the church. That's your daughter. Timer speed.
Actors that were classically trained, they know the stage, they understand what it means to be immersed in the moment, and it's go time at all times, and there's an audience anywhere. In your traditional black box environment, the camera was pointing at them or not, they needed to be on their A game.
Let's stick to this.
Mine's right before yours, but just throw it in. Just throw it in as soon as he says to him, I'll take care of this. Give me that line.
Enough! We will take care of
It was tough, it was a challenge. And so the takes needed to be perfect from every angle. They're not just playing to a camera, they're playing to space.
At which point we're now entering Cinemersion and you can question her. Do you not know that you are hurting and afflicting these children by your witchcraft?
Going through and trying to explain, okay, yes, you're the lead, however, you're not, because we've got Cinemersion characters. And like, well, what's a Cinemersion character? Well, we have 6 storylines happening at the same exact time. Well, how does that work? When do I speak my lines? Well, you're all speaking at the same time. Well, how are you recording all that? Well, we're gonna have to record it separately, but together. So it was wild. And cut.
That was kind of awkward.
Do it again? No, do it again. The writing of this was so interesting.
Yeah.
And we realized, wait a minute, you can't have a lead protagonist. At that point, when you give the audience the ability to move through the space freely, everyone becomes a protagonist. Everyone becomes a lead. So you have to have lines for every single one of those background actors because they are all potential viewing points. And so we had to write scripts for every single person inside that space. And so we had 45 actors.
The moment you hit Cinemersion, it's left and right. You're stopping in time and you're letting audience just partake in this world and experience all areas of the scene that they can come back later and experience again. I missed over here, I missed over there. As the movie is going in real time. And I think that is the key.
You're no longer binge watching seasons, you're binge watching episodes.
Cinemersion's been way over. Cinemersion is a moment. Like the story stops and then Cinemersion happens.
Right.
Remember one conversation that I had with Jose Gonçalves as I was driving to work, and as I started to explain to him the Cinemersion process, immediately he was like, "Okay, so you're gamifying cinema."
As if it were her body up against her body, and you'll be, kind of rocking forward and backwards.
And I was like, that's actually a really cool way of looking at it. It goes from the cinematic into gameplay, and you have now the freedom to control this character.
So lots of movement, moving. You can even get your hands up into the side as long as you don't hit him.
I kind of likened it that way, and I said, that's perfect. Yeah, it's that, but not that.
So you may be asking yourself, what is Cinemersion? Well, it's not just cinema. A term trademarked by myself and my brother Jonathan. Cinemersion is it's an immersive journey. It's shattering traditional storytelling boundaries with groundbreaking tech that allows you to experience stories in an extended reality. Our dream is to redefine how you experience cinema, making storytelling a fully interactive art form.
Entering into the concept of Cinemersion, where you're experiencing a cinematic, 2D experience, and merging that into a virtual reality experience, you had to really consider how these things seamlessly bridge together.
We need everyone on the left side because we have to do, there's a spirit in the room. So we have to get the girls on the spirit in the room.
One of the things about this scene is it's a courtroom. It's a case, it's an examination. To be able to have a dynamic experience, but at the same time feeling like you're exploring the world in a 2D form of cinematic experience, you got to find a way to bridge it. Whip pans, feeling like people are looking around. Steady cam, being able to feel like this ghostly movement even behind Callum as Sarah Good is coming through the entrance. Seeing the interactions between people, getting close facial expressions, hearing the gossips, but not being able to really go into them.
Sarah Good.
But feeling like almost like you're inside in the experience. And so filming that and preparing those shots to then later on having just this wide shot of everything that's going on and knowing that has to blend perfectly.
We want to tell a story, and we want to tell an excellent story, but we want to give the audience something more than just, here, be passive. Let's explore all of the events that created for this powder keg and give the audience the opportunity for themselves as they're living out these events to make their own decisions about, okay, I now know what happened emotionally, but also textbook, I know what happened.
As a viewer, you're able to kind of look into different pockets of the story and decide what it is that you want to see and what it is you want to learn more about. And especially the Salem witch trials, because it's so vague and what happened and what didn't happen, we're able to really step into the shoes of these people and experience as it was in that moment in time.
Along with the traditional cinematic approach to film, we also wanted them, whether it's through phone, tablet, computer, or even smart TV, for them to have the ability to scroll, swipe, and zoom through the story. What we have now is what you can create, at least with where the technology is at this point. And I think for us, it was just exciting to be able to merge two mediums. It's like you've got sculpting and painting happening at the same exact time. For us, that was exciting.
Why these accusations on your wife, Sarah, Mr. Good?
Because of the way she treats me. That woman is an enemy to all good.